My sister is seeing a married man and I got beaten because of her. I have no idea where my idiot sister is because she went on vacation with her friends. All I know is that I'm going to pull her hair out when I see her. My sister and I go to the same university. Although we are only 3 years apart, we are almost identical, and people always confuse us for twins. And today, I suffered because of that resemblance we have. Because as soon as I left my university to go to my car, a lady threw herself on me to start dragging me by the hair while she was yelling at me a lot of things and insults. By pure instinct, I also began to fight. Honestly, at that moment, I thought that some homeless person had an attack of dementia or something. I pulled her by the hair until my friends separated her from me. The woman was crying, and behind her there were 2 more women who were with her and arguing with my friends. The woman was yelling at me that I am her husband's intimacy lover, and I didn't understand anything about what was happening. But at that moment, my mind clicked because I know that my sister is dating with an older man. She doesn't tell me much about him, but she shows me the gifts he gives her. I told the woman that she was looking for my sister. Basically, the people who were with her yelled at me that I must be just as slutty as my sister. I'm not. I think and tried to fight again, but the police approached us, and it was all too messy. Now my scalp is full of scratches, my back is scraped by the asphalt, and my hair hurts too much. And my sister doesn't answer my calls to explain what the hell she did before I tell my mother what happened. I know that if I tell my parents about this, they might even stop paying for my sister's educational because it's not the first time she does something like this. I'm going to tell them? Yes, but first I need to talk with my sister. The humiliation of having been beaten up at my university for something I didn't do is too bog. It gives me chills to think about coming back on Monday and that the people who saw us believe that I am to blame for that when my sister was the culprit. Poor woman. I do feel empathy for her, but I didn't deserve that beating. My sister is not a good person at all, so it's easy to see her in a situation like this. At least she should have asked my name before that. Edit. Yes. We ended up at the police station, and I filed charges against her, even though she apologized to me a lot once she calmed down a little bit. To be honest, her friends were worse than her in the sense of wanting to keep fighting when it was all over. But anyway, that doesn't justify that the fool hit the wrong person. For now, I'm just going to wait for my sister to come back, because I want to say everything with her present so that she can't run away from our parents. It's not the first time my sister has messed with a married man. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "What is wrong with your sister, but also WTF is wrong with this lady? Beating one of your husband's GFs certainly won't stop him from pursuing other women. Smank." Another added, "Of course she won't beat her husband. She's been conditioned to believe it's the woman's fault and that women are competition. Or else she wouldn't have treated her this way." Then another commenter suggested, "Tell your parents. Your sister will never learn unless she is put in her place. Even then, she might not learn. At least you get it off your chest. You should press charges on that crazy lady. She should get her facts straight before attacking someone. Plus, it's her husband's fault, not yours. You need to protect yourself." Now for the 6-day update. Hi, my sister came back from her vacations a few days ago. I waited for her to come back because I didn't want her to run away from telling our parents what happened, and I wanted her to be the one to tell them everything. My sister lives with our parents. No, she's not a teenager. She's almost 30. I don't know why someone in the comments said that she was suffering from grooming when she's 28. There's even plus 40 years old people in college. And anyways, you need to be an adult to be there. So when she arrived, I was already there. When my parents asked me what the hell happened to me, I told them to wait for my sister to come to talk about it, so they already knew that this was about her. Many people don't understand that there are people who like to be the second and enjoy feeling that they can sleep with anyone, even with a forbidden one. And my sister is that type of person. Since she was a teenager, she flirted with her friends' boyfriends. She did it to measure her value with others, but she never flirted with any of my boyfriends. At least she has her limits. Now that she is older, she likes to sleep with married men. For her, it is better to receive gifts and fun without the pressure of being the wife. Her words. We discussed this many times. At the end of the day, it's all a self-esteem and ego problem that my sister has. She needs to know that she can get whatever she wants. Anyway, a few days ago, the cheating man had sent a message to my sister telling her that his wife beat him and kicked him out of the house after she found out about his affair with my sister. The woman found my sister's IG and sent her messages telling her to stay away from her family because apparently the man took their kids to some of the dates with my sister. And my sister, who is a big idiot, followed the fight with the woman insulting her. She showed me the chat and was clearly encouraging the woman to fight, calling her names, etc. And that's how I ended up getting beaten. According to my sister, she didn't believe that the woman was really going to hit her. But then I started to message her, and she basically ignored me because didn't want to get that kind of stress, and also because she knew she screwed up. Honestly, so many comments told me that my sister was not to blame for anything that I began to believe it, until I saw the messages she sent to that woman, almost begging for a beating, and I stopped feeling any kind of empathy for her. She's not a good person and never was. I was furious, but my mother was even more angry. It is not the first time that my family has been affected because of her intimacy adventures. This time, we did not lose money or friends, but I was physically attacked, which is worse. My sister justified herself by saying that she is single and has no responsibility for any marriage. But my mother told her that we all suffer because of her problematic behavior, and that morally she's helping to ruin the lives of many because of her ego. It all ended with my sister throwing a tantrum, like always, and even blaming me for looking like her. But this time, my father kicked her out of the house with her things. I found it a little sad that my own parents apologized to me for their adult daughter's behavior. In the end of the day, I feel sad to see my parents and other people because of her behavior. And about the woman, she contacted me the next day. I got beaten and was really sorry. She said she would pay for any medical expenses, but I'm fine. She sounded much calmer without her friends and told me that she had never done anything like that. But she felt a very strong hatred for my sister and her ex because of how they talked about her with the children. Although she sounded really regretful, a large part of me wanted her to kick my sister's butt, but that's not going to happen. Even if that doesn't make me a good person, I would have liked to see that. I'm sorry for the boring update, but not much happened except that she didn't send me a message or anything like that. Anyways, I just pray that my parents still don't talk to her so I can see her as little as possible. Now for a few comments. First commenter, wow, 28? Really? Another commenter shared their experience. You're never too old for this crap. My sister tries to get with rich married men for the same reason. She's in her mid-40s. She wants all the fun and gifts without the relationship and commitment. In my sister's case, she's a gold digger. Always was, even as a kid. She bleeds them dry and tosses them aside. I've been attacked before because of her and the lies she's told. She tried to get her boyfriend to run me over with his car once, and he almost did it. If 2 others weren't with me that night, I would have been in hospital or worse. She's also sent him into my bedroom to beat me when I still lived at home. The old pair had no problems with him following me in after I just got out of the shower and was still in my towel. I had to fight him off while trying to keep myself covered. Everyone was cool with this because he's a rich doctor's son. She also spewed a ton of lies about me all over town, and people would randomly attack me. I couldn't leave the house without someone coming for me. My reputation was left in tatters. I've blocked my sister from my life because of her behavior and how it destroys my life when she's in it. You should do the same as soon as you can and move far away from her. I've moved to another country and I'm happier. Her lies got found out and she's an outcast now. No one wants to have anything to do with her and her non-stop lies. No one wants to date a woman they can't believe. She's stuck living with a narcissistic sociopath now because there's no one else who will take her in, and he's obligated to, related to us unfortunately, as he's the only person she hasn't decided to destroy. She'll be stuck with him until he passes, and then she's on her own. The hundreds of relatives that live nearby won't even talk to her after everything she did to me and them. Your sister is looking at the same future. Trying to tell her won't do anything to stop it. She's going to keep spiraling out of control until she hits rock bottom. She might listen then, or like my sister, she probably won't, and she'll just destroy her own life further. Make sure you'll be far away when that happens. Then another commenter said, I was really expecting the parents to take your sister's side, but I'm really glad they didn't. She deserves to be kicked to the curb, and I hope they don't let her come back. She sucks, a lot. She might not be entirely morally bankrupt, but damn, she's trying her best to get there. I hope you're healing up okay and things get back to normal for you, and you don't have to deal with more of your sister's mistakes, at least anytime soon. Finally, another commenter added, I am glad that your parents kicked your sister out. I just want to know if you laid charges against the wife who beat you up, because I am still pissed on your behalf at the fact that you are completely innocent and you ended up injured. Am I the idiot for prioritizing my son's safety over my pregnant sister-in-law's cravings and kicking her out? My brother and his wife Laura, who is 7 months pregnant, are staying with us for a week or so since he's interviewing for jobs in the city my family and I are in. My kids love having their aunt and uncle around, and everything's been great. Yesterday, Laura went out and came back with groceries. I thanked her, but told her that we don't expect them to do this. The kitchen is stocked, and that we're just enjoying having them. She said that she wanted to, and that most were cravings she's been having. I started helping her unload the bags and noticed that a lot of snacks were with peanuts, cookies, crackers, PB, even some sort of cake fusion. It all made me uneasy because she knows my oldest son, male 8, is extremely allergic. I don't keep anything of the kind in our home because we've had an incident when he was younger where we almost lost him. I didn't want to be rude, but I told her that I'm not comfortable with having the stuff in the house. She told me that she would be careful, that she wouldn't eat it around him or his siblings, and that she'd clean up after herself, that she was having intense cravings and needed them. Look, I've had 4 kids and kind of get where she's coming from, although I never had to have something. But every woman is different. I made sure my son knew not to touch any of it and to leave her alone when she's eating them. That was that. Today, I woke up early to make breakfast and opened the fridge only to be greeted by strawberries dipped in PB, left out without a container to chill. The PB jar wasn't sealed properly next to them, and there were sandwiches on a plate because she likes the bread cold and soggy. I was pissed. I've read enough about airborne contamination to know that you can't really determine it, but I wasn't risking it. I grabbed a bag and started throwing everything in it, our groceries, hers. I didn't care. I was going to take the bag, drive to a shelter, and let them know the situation. Laura woke up while I was on my rampage, came down, and asked all upset what I was doing. I was snippy with her and didn't try to hide it. We got in an argument with her defensively, saying that I can't do this, that the baby needs it, and that it's cruel to put a pregnant woman through unsatisfied cravings. I told her bluntly that I don't give a single frick. If she can't keep to her word, then I won't either, and that she'll live without her craving. My son can't say the same with his allergy. She went back upstairs, packed her bag, came back down, grabbed the bag of food, and left in a huff. My brother was at his interview and called me half an hour later to ask me what happened. He was upset with his wife, but also with me because nothing happened, and at the end of the day, my son is fine. I told my husband when he came back from work, and he's completely on my side. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Nothing happened, and your son is fine because you made sure that would be the case. You were already being exceedingly reasonable and taking risks just allowing that stuff in the house." Another commenter added, "I went to school with people with severe peanut allergies from the age of 4 and understood I could not have anything with peanuts around them. Sister-in-law is old enough to understand but doesn't care." Then another commenter said, "There is a difference between a pregnant woman not having her cravings satisfied and an 8-year-old going into anaphylactic shock. One is possibly life-threatening and the other is not." Finally, one more commenter agreed, "Honestly, I hate but baby wants/baby needs in situations where the person, the pregnant lady, is the AH. No, your unborn baby does not need strawberries dipped in peanut butter." Now for the one-day update. Like some people had predicted in the comments, Laura did go straight to my family and started complaining. She hadn't twisted anything, told them the full honest story, and my mother was livid. She called me panting like she ran a marathon after she berated Laura to make sure my son is okay, so I can only imagine the riot act she read her. Apparently, even my stepdad gave Laura one of his disapproving frowns. My brother came back in the evening to get his stuff, since Laura had only packed hers for some reason. He did apologize for what she did, said that he'll have a chat with her once she's calmed down. She's been inconsolable. He told me that she's been crying since she left my mom's house, and that she now feels unwelcome and unloved in our family, and he blames me for it. My husband butted in and told him that it's enough, that whatever she's feeling doesn't cover half of what we felt, and that she needs to get over herself, that I've been scrubbing the house from top to bottom for hours because of her actions. I did get panicky and went on to deep clean the whole house, especially the kitchen. But anyway, my brother left after he said that there's no leveling with us when we're being this stubborn. Now that I've had time to get out of the state I was in, I do feel bad that she's distressed and feels unwelcome in our family. That was never my goal. I've been debating sending her an apology, not for my actions because I stand by them, but for the way I went about it. I shouldn't have allowed the stuff in our house in the first place and could have been calmer about it after I opened the fridge. Here's the script based on the text provided. If your sister-in-law doesn't get to eat her pregnancy cravings, she and her baby will be just fine. If your son is exposed to his allergen, he could get very sick or even die. Sister-in-law is a selfish, entitled jerk for thinking that her snacks were somehow more important than the life of your son. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Sister-in-law could eat all the peanuts she wants anywhere but your house and wash her hands well before coming home. Maybe change clothes. I don't have food allergies, but she doesn't have to eat her peanut butter at your house. And strawberries dipped in peanut butter? Ooh." Another commenter added, "What gets me is just how blatant and uncaring she was about it. She could have survived not eating it or eating it at their house. We aren't even talking about someone who had a couple packs of peanut butter cookies and Reese's Pieces that she ate only in their bedroom or outside and washed up afterwards. She insisted on contaminating the kitchen, the fridge, and if it was an open plan, then the dining room and living room. She set it up so that the child would 100% come into contact with peanut butter. It feels like someone who really doesn't believe other people's allergies are real and deliberately set up situations that harm them to prove their hypothesis. Am I the idiot for letting my gluten-free mom eat my homemade lattiao and not correcting her? So my mother and I don't have a great relationship. Throughout my life, she has pushed all kinds of fad diets, self-help flavored fads, and even conversion therapy via the troubled teen industry on me. She's never apologized for any of it, despite me telling her how much it all messed me up. I still haven't mustered the guts to go no contact because she's still married to my dad, who I do get along with and generally like. Well, I recently moved to a new place in a really nice area because I just got a really nice new job. Suddenly, my mom really wants to come and visit and see me. I do my best to make up excuses, but she pushes so hard that eventually I cave. One of the things I've been doing since moving into my new place is a lot of cooking because I have a nice big kitchen all to myself. I love weird food and finding new ways to get protein in my diet without using meat. Something I've had a lot of fun making lately is lattiao. It's probably not weird to some people, but to my sheltered American self, it was funky as hell, and I loved the idea of it. So I started making it from scratch and discovered that I love it. Well, my mom and dad got here yesterday afternoon evening and settled in, and we start talking about dinner. As usual, mom has to pick after looking at online menus for a couple of hours to make sure they fit with her dietary requirements. She ends up picking a vegan restaurant that's across town, but she's just so tired from the drive up, she can't fathom getting back in the car. So Dad and I agree to go pick it up while she rests. Driving across my new city is a long process, which I told her ahead of time, and it's a little over an hour later when we get home with the vegan gluten-free food she wanted. She's not vegan, but she is adamantly gluten-free and has been for a few years now. We get inside, and as I am opening the food in the kitchen, I notice the Pyrex Snapware container of lattiao that was in my fridge is now empty in my sink. She even dumped out the sauce that I'd been soaking them in. I asked her if she'd eaten something out of my fridge while we were gone, and she said that yes, she had eaten some chicken because she was getting lightheaded from hunger, but it was terrible, and she was so ready for some real food. Now this is where I might have been the jerk. Instead of telling her what she had actually eaten, I just rolled my eyes and dished up the food for everyone, and we ate. She continued to remark about how bad and oily the chicken was, and how relieved she was to finally eat something substantial throughout the rest of the evening. My dad kept trying to change the subject, and she kept coming back to it. I finally snapped when she brought it up again first thing this morning when I was picking them up from their hotel. I asked them where they wanted to go for breakfast, and my mom made a joke about not wanting me to cook them breakfast because she didn't want more oily chicken or something to that effect. I finally said, "Mom, that was homemade lattiao, and I don't understand why you ate all of it if you hated it so much." She asked me what lattiao is, and I explained that it's just vital wheat gluten and water steamed and soaked in sauce. I practically watched as her face dropped, and sure enough, within 30 minutes, her stomach was killing her, and she was having difficulty breathing and needed to go to the emergency room. The whole time we were there, she went on and on to the nurses and doctors about how I'd fed her gluten and not told her until it was too late for her to take her medicine, and crying because now the whole trip was ruined. Mind you, this is the hospital where I work. My dad pulled me aside to tell me he was disappointed that I hadn't spoken up last night, and how what I'd done not only hurt my mother's feelings, but also put her health and safety at risk. He asked me to go home and think about my actions and give my mother some space, and now I'm just sitting here alone in my cool new place, feeling like a weenie and super anxious about what work is going to be like next week. I'm torn because I don't think it's my fault that she ate my food without talking to me first. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't omit the information about what she'd eaten because I was pissed at her and just didn't want to discuss it further. I also didn't expect it to make her so sick. Now for the update. Just got home. So after everything went down this morning, I went back to the hospital to check on my parents. My mom was sleeping and still in the ED, and so I got to talk to my dad and the doctor a bit. My dad still thought I should apologize. I told him I would when she woke up. When I talked to the doctor a bit, I started asking about testing. I asked if they'd done a test for the specific kind of immunoglobulin present in celiacs when someone has gluten, and she said she actually hadn't needed to because apparently my mom had that test done in the past with her PCP. The doctor asked me if I worked in the medical field, and I told her that, yes, I worked in the lab. She then volunteered a bit more information than she probably should have, but I'm glad she did because I feel a bit better. She had managed to get my mom's lab results faxed over, and looked them over. Apparently, my mom's TTG-IgA was low enough that it was absolutely clear that my mother does not have celiac disease. The doctor had offered to refer her for a biopsy, which is standard procedure for confirmation of celiac, and my mother declined. I later confirmed with my dad that it was because she didn't think it was worth it to go through all the expense and pain of surgery to confirm something she already knows. Furthermore, according to the nurse, my mother was given lorazepam, which he told me was for her stomach pain and nausea. He actually put this in air quotes with his fingers. In case you are not familiar with lorazepam, it is a benzo that is also used as an antipsychotic, anti-anxiety sedative, along with gastro symptoms. Apparently, the medicine my mom was talking about was some kind of holistic/herbal thing. Cherry on top is that the nurse is Chinese and loves Latiao, and I now have a new work friend. I thanked them for all their help, and they indicated that she was ready to be discharged. My dad was not inclined to wake her up, but I explained that there were other people waiting that needed to be seen, and they couldn't be seen if there were no open beds. I then asked the doctor if she could write my mom a script for more lorazepam, which she agreed to, which seemed to placate my dad. I wheeled my mom out to my car. She was high as hell and going on and on about how she couldn't believe that I'd poisoned her, and if I wasn't her daughter, I'd be going to prison. I just apologized, didn't offer any excuses. When I got them to their hotel and my mom was waiting on a couch in the lobby, while my dad grabbed her bags from my car, I told my dad it was probably better if they just go home. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional. He agreed. So yeah, based on the lab work and the way the ED staff were acting, I'm convinced my mom was faking for sympathy and attention. Not that it matters, because my dad will always support her no matter what. I'm never having them over again.